Entire more than entire we have been devastated. The maddened clarion, the bold invaders' horde, the mortar thundered voice, the blood-anointed sword, have all men's sweat and work and store annihilated. The towers stand in flames, the church is violated, the strong are massacred, a ruin our council board, our maidens are raped, and where my eyes have scarce explored, fire, pestilence, and death my heart have dominated. Andreas Gryphius, Tears of the Fatherland, 1636. The 30 Years' War was a 17th century religious conflict that was fought in Central Europe. It remains to be one of the longest wars in human history. More than 8 million casualties resulted due to the war, from military battles as well as from the famine and disease caused by the conflict. The war lasted from 1618 to 1648. The war began due to the ongoing religious and political war between the Catholics and the Protestants, stemming back to Martin Luther and his 95 Theses in 1517. Martin Luther's Reformation divided German princes within the Holy Roman Empire, leading to conflict between the Catholic Habsburg emperors and the princes who adopted Lutheran Protestantism. These conflicts ended with the Peace of Augsburg in 1555, which established the principle of whoever reigns will get to implement his own religion within the Holy Roman Empire. Now each prince will be able to decide which religion their state would worship. Many historians agree that the 30 Years' War can be broken up into 4 phases: the Bohemian phase, the Danish phase, the Swedish phase, and the French phase. The Bohemian phase begins with the Defenestration of Prague in 1618, which officially starts the 30 Years' War. This was an event where a multitude of rebellious Bohemian Protestants forced their way into Prague Castle and overthrew 2 Catholic imperial governors from a 3rd-story window.
You see, when these Bohemian Protestants threw 2 Catholic imperial governors out of a third-story window, both the Protestants and the Catholics knew shit was real, and the 30 Years' War sure did live up to its name. It is estimated that 1/3 of the population of the Holy Roman Empire died during this war. Worse, the indecisive, back-and-forth nature of the war meant that the same areas were raided again and again and again, whereas other areas remained completely untouched. Well, the primary cause of death during the war were beriberi, measles, tuberculosis, smallpox, and the common cold. The second phase in the 30 Years' War is the Danish phase. In response to the Battle of Whites, the King of Denmark invaded the imperial armies to help the Lutheran princes against the emperor. However, without the help of his allies, this ended up being an immense failure. The Danish king had retreated back to his own country, with the imperial forces following him. The Danish phase concluded in 1629 when Ferdinand issued the Edict of Restitution, which ordered the return of Catholic lands that had been taken over by Protestants since the Peace of Augsburg. The third phase, the Swedish phase, mainly consisted of the Lutheran king of Sweden, Gustavus Adolphus, scoring a decisive victory at the Battle of Brittenfeld in 1631, which strengthened the Protestant cause. The final phase, the French phase, began in 1632 when Gustavus Adolphus was killed in battle. This would end Sweden's active leadership in the Protestant cause. In this last phase of the 30 Years' War, the most predominant player on the Protestant side was Catholic France.
The endgame of the 30 Years' War was the bloodiest and failed to produce a decisive result. After 30 years, people were tired of the constant warfare that had befallen upon them. Some even lost track of why they were even fighting in the first place. The warring states gathered at Westphalia and rationed out peace to end a long war that had begun as a local religious conflict. The Peace of Westphalia was an important benchmark for the development of international law in international relations because it brought about a sovereignty-based system. The treaty also extended tolerance to allow the minority religion of the territory to practice freely. The principle of international law was what the Peace of Westphalia supported, and it led to a more stabilized Europe in terms of power. All in all, the 30 Years' War was one of the deadliest wars in human history, with over 12 million people dying during the time period. Catholics and Protestants were now equal after the war. Unlike before the war, however, many people have religious rights now. The 30 Years' War rearranged the European power structure and limited the power of the Holy Roman Empire. Finally, the war was the last major religious war in Europe, and it put an end to the violence following the Protestant Reformation.